Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TinyBlueGames. My name, of course, is Seesaw or Chris, and today we're continuing our Casual's Guide to the Hardcore with a sort of dungeon overview. The dungeon in question is the Protogames Academy. This is a dungeon you can do at level 10, so it will be something you use to level from 10 to 20. I'll show you where you can find a dungeon in the 10 to 20 bracket. It's going to be very easy to find. You'll stumble across it no matter if you're Exile or Dominion. There's a lot of entrances to it, as well as a queue in the group finder as well. And you'll find people looking for it in the looking for group. So we're going to talk about the dungeon. It's a really good form of experience, especially at level 10. You'll get quite a few levels. You can see here I'm starting at 37%, and we'll see how much we get from it. I'm just checking here, and there's a guy who's like level 40 something in our group for some reason. I don't know, maybe he just wants to try it out. There's a lot of people who just want to try out for the first time. The role I will be fulfilling for this dungeon is a healer, but you know, heals aren't the hugest thing for this one, so it's not the biggest deal, and I'm going to be DPSing as well. The first mechanic it teaches us about is interrupting and tethers. You just see here. We all got tethered. We have to go back, and we have to use an interrupt before the boss explodes and kills everyone. This will put him into a moment of opportunity, at which point we can damage him down and kill him. So the big things it's going to do in this dungeon is it's going to show you mechanics that you're going to use throughout the game, and that's kind of what it is. It's an academy. It's trying to teach you how to do Wildstar. So here you see that there's a lot of telegraphs to dodge, and these are telegraphs that are pretty easy, but also common to the game, where you have sort of slowly rotating ones. Interrupting is a huge part of the game, and they want to really focus on you interrupting the boss, getting them purple, and then DPSing them as hard as you can when they're purple. You'll also notice that I got a ton of experience from that last kill, which is huge because that's not even the end, experience of the dungeon. That's just a kill in the dungeon. So they've made it rewarding enough that it's for sure worth doing, especially at level 10. And it's a really fun dungeon in my opinion. So you run through the telegraphs again and interrupt. We were waiting a few seconds for an interrupt there, but we got one eventually. The reason this first part's not super healing intensive is because we kind of have her in her moment of opportunity long enough that we don't need to take damage. The tank doesn't need to take damage. You'll notice here one of our guys dies from the telegraph. As a healer, I could maybe heal them through, but generally when it's telegraphs that everyone has to go through, the common thought is that you should be able to make it by yourself. Because there's, you saw me go through that and not take any damage. So there is a way to do it. I mean, obviously I could have tried and healed them, but that's what it is. It's not a huge deal in this dungeon. There's going to be a few deaths. It's just a lot of fun, really, is what you're looking at here. So I'm going to res them, and we're going to move on to the next zone. There's no trash, really, so that's kind of fun, too. It's just you go onto the little portals here, and they teleport you around. This is kind of the final boss of the first area, if that makes sense. He's got a bit more of a unique mechanic to it that you'll use over and over again. And you'll see here that I actually have to start healing the tank because he's going to be more of a traditional boss where I have to perform my roles as a healer. I'm a healing spell slinger, if you didn't know that. I'm healing a stalker tank healer. And we also have one stalker, a medic, and a warrior in our group. So here's a mechanic you'll see a few times where there's one safe zone and you need everyone to get there or else they'll get auto-killed. From that, we get another common mechanic where you get a telegraph placed on you. Now, what you want to do for this one is actually not place the mechanic on the boss, because then you're going to have fire, which you see here. And because of that, the warrior can no longer do damage easily. So I have to really get in there and start healing this guy who is standing in the fire. So we're going to go back to the safe place, and I think, if I remember correctly, the person who placed the telegraph on the boss has learnt this time. So it's very good at teaching that. Some good strategies would be to put it along the wall, or if you could stack them all together because they have a second before they come down. Those would all work fine for this boss. But we have enough damage just to really take him down there. You see I got another bunch of experience. I'm already at 99% from starting at 30. And we're what? How much are we in? Where's the clock? I don't know where the clock is, but we're 5 minutes in right now. So it's definitely worth doing it on your way to level 20. And let's be honest, everyone wants to do some dungeons instead of just questing the whole time. It's a lot more enjoyable. So now you get to a place where you have to do some more traditional stuff. You can talk to, there's little holograms back there that tell you what tanking, healing, and damaging is in case you weren't really sure. I feel like if you're able to find your way into the dungeon finder and into the dungeon, you're probably going to be able to know what, your respective role is. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit hopeful, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go against the robot here in the middle, and there's a few robots you go against in this area. There's kind of like 3 sections of the dungeon, and this is number 2. So there's one telegraph you get that you lead away from the rest of the group. There's one that you can interrupt right here and get into a moment of opportunity. It's not devastating if you don't interrupt it. It's just one of those things that you do want to get some more extra damage. Here he summons a bomb that can be cleaved. This is another interesting mechanic. You have to DPS it down before it explodes. And it really shows you about positioning where you can cleave both of them. So it's kind of a lesson for the tank, I guess, really, that you want him beside the bomb enough that you can get the damage on both of them. Here's another interrupt. I don't think our interrupts are off cooldown quick enough. Nope, we got them. Which really helps you take down the boss, and they're trying to teach that too. So we'll take him down good. The next boss after this is also a robot. You'll notice that in the both Protogames, the one that's at level 10 and the one that's level 50, you go into these blue circles to move on the event because there's not really trash. It's just a bunch of rooms. So it doesn't work like your traditional dungeon in that sense, which is really nice because you don't have to do all the trash. Just be careful that you don't walk into the circle until everyone's ready. So this is another kind of easy fight, really. You're going to have to heal the tank a little bit more here. I think I go as long as I can without healing him. There is one safe spot in the room. It was just conveniently on us already. It doesn't always do that. Where, the tank has to kite the boss into and all that, or else you're going to get, this damage done to you. There is ads that are summoned, which kind of helps the tank deal with collecting ads. And being able to cleave the ads and the boss is a huge damage increase. Instead of just killing the ads and then just killing the boss, you're saving a lot of time that way. So here you see we have to move to a different safe zone. We have some people that are a little bit slower at moving to it, but the dungeon's a casual dungeon in the sense that it gives you enough time that, if you're not really sure what's going on, you should be able to make it and just follow the group. You don't have to be on your game for a lot of these mechanics, which some people will, be upset about because they like the challenge. But I mean, it's a level 10 dungeon. What are you expecting? So we all get here and we go to the next boss. This guy, I'm pretty sure, has little spinning robot ads as well as a safe zone mechanic as well. We'll see in a second here. The robots that do get summoned spin around and can go through the group. There's not much the tank can do about it. They're not aggro controlled, the ads. Let's just see if it's the boss I'm talking about before I start, giving you all this information. No, I think this is one of the same one as last time, with the safe zone and the little ads, which are aggro controlled. You'll notice that the game does have, so these ones are the aggro controlled ones, have some ads that are and are not aggro controlled. The ones that are not has to be each individual player's responsibility, where the ads that are the tank's responsibility will also kind of, like, if you have ads on you and they can be taunted off, make sure you go stand by the tank, because there's nothing worse as a tank seeing someone like run around with these ads on them, not knowing what to do and dying, when they could just walk by you and you could taunt them off. So if you do get ads on you, especially in like this phase here, just walk over to the tank and he'll start cleaving them as well as taunting them if he has his taunt up, and they should get off you right away. It's also great for the healer because he can heal both of you up at the same time, because most healers will have a multi-shot heal. Alright, so we all go to the circle again, and now I think we start the one I was talking about with the robots that can't be taunted. Yeah, so this is the final boss of this area. You'll notice I charge up my shot even though I'm a healer. I'm able to contribute a fair amount of damage to this fight. However, I do notice that my tank is taking a fair bit more damage from this guy. You notice that from the sort of larger bosses in this one, that they do have enough damage to kind of do some stuff to you. So here are the robots I was talking about that just go around spinning. You can see they have a red telegraph around them. There's not much the tank can do about this. The healer kind of has to be on their game too, because some people are going to miss it. It's just what's going to happen. So here you run them to the safe zone there, and you interrupt the boss like that for a moment of opportunity. It's actually a pretty long moment of opportunity too, which is nice. So you can really damage them down. Or as a healer, you could really heal people up. As we're trying to kill them pretty quick, I decided to damage. It's a judgment call, for your group, depending on how much damage you guys have. If you have enough damage, you're able to just, keep on kiting them back and forth to the safe zones. See, here we have a robot go through and do a little bit of damage, and then we have another one go right through the group and just take off some damage too. It doesn't do a ton, but you can see here someone's getting pretty low because they've been continuously hit in the center there. So I'm going to really try and get to them. I put my shield on him and start healing up with my major charge shot. But we are able to kill the final boss within the moment of opportunity there at the end. You also get a fair bit of nice blue gear for level 10. Something that you're not going to see a ton of questing at this level, which is really nice. The one complaint I have for this dungeon is that it has a rather small amount of drops. Like you'll see the same ones dropping over and over again, which is kind of irritating. And I wouldn't say it's super well balanced in what drops they have. Like you'll have a bunch for a certain role and a certain class. So here we're going to move to the final boss. You can see that it's a bit more dark and gloomy. It definitely has the final boss feel to it. You're going to go into the circle again. You'll notice that I'm already at 60% into the next level from this dungeon. So it's definitely worth doing, and we'll see how much time it takes us at the end here. But I think it's going to be pretty great experience for anyone who wants to do it at a low level. I think I might even be level 11 for this because I think levels you down. Well, no, it says I'm level 11 now, so I'm not sure. It's worth doing probably anywhere between 10 and 15 if I was... Like, you could do it anywhere above it, but between 10 and 15 is where you really want to do it. So this boss has a few mechanics that you need to know about, or you can die on this guy a lot easier than some of the other bosses. You do have to do some healing. The tank has to have the boss turned away from the group for that sort of fiery breath. A very common mechanic. This needs to be interrupted, which people are working on, or else he'll do a nice big smash. And he'll do a moment of opportunity if you do interrupt him, so it's definitely worth it. About, what are we, like 60% way through, he'll do a sort of rain of fire mechanic. This is actually kind of the easier part, so I like to top everyone's health up with, during this phase. You can't damage the boss, so it kind of sucks for DPS because you kind of have to just watch. Make sure you don't blow your interrupt or anything during this phase by accident, because it's going to be necessary moving on. So you just sort of walk around, because he does a big smash thing that you need to interrupt, or else it will be pretty rough, because it's just a continuous smash and it just bleeds off damage. So it's this right here that we need to interrupt, and we do. He gives you a little bit of time before he starts damaging to interrupt, which is great, because it's a pretty devastating one that a healer can't heal through unless they're super geared for some reason. But it's really easy to get through. There's going to be another mechanic we see here where he summons a bunch of ads. The tank has to gather them all. And then you got to use your AoE damage to bring them down. You see I charged up a shot for them and waited until they were all in line to do it. And then I do some healing. The ads are pretty easy. I mean, let's be honest here. It's not a big deal. This one's kind of an interesting one. It's a telegraph that lands on someone, and when it lands, it also splits out into a bunch of fireballs. It's a fun dodging one where you have to kind of be ready for that. So you see here we're getting close to the end of the dungeon. We moo him one last time. Moo obviously being moment of opportunity. I'm sure I've said that throughout the guide already a few times. And we're about to take him down. And 15 minutes, and I'm at 87% in the next one. I mean, I think I actually leveled up again because it goes through and into the next one. But it was definitely worth doing this dungeon for 15 minutes. You get some great gear. I would highly recommend you guys do this. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next video of the Casual Guide to the Hardcore. Thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to Wildstar or have an existing account with no game time left, please try the 10-day free trial either at the Wildstar homepage or by checking out the link I've left in the description below. And finally, if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe.